Hey Jeep fans, I was working a little bit on my F134 today that I'm going to be dropping in my CJ3A. This question comes up every once in a while: how do I fit an F134 in a low hood Jeep? So today I'm going to do a quick walk around the engine I'm working on, show you some modifications that I've done to get it to work in my low hood Jeep. So here we have my engine. Many people ask why an F134 over the normal flathead that goes in a low hood Jeep. Well, I'm working on a project to eventually fuel inject and supercharge this engine. This is just the first iteration to make sure everything fits, to work on some fitment issues because my blower is eventually going to go right here, so I got to figure out how to swap everything over to the other side. So this engine I want to get running. I'm going to run it in the Fall Colors Tour here in about a month as well. So I'll go over some modifications that I've done to this engine to get it to work. So first, I run an alternator on my Jeep. This is a Delco, I think it's a 10SI, maybe 63 amp or so. Got these brackets. I configure it in a 3-wire setup because it'll charge at idle. This is a normal oil canister for an F head. Mounts very similar to an L head. Does mount under 2 head bolts right there. So getting into the modifications, you can see this oil fill tube is pretty short. I actually have a normal one. So this would be a normal height tube. This is about how much higher it would be on the engine. You can see a normal height tube will hit my fuel bowl, and you'll notice this carburetor looks a little bit different too. So the first thing I did, swap out to a shorter style oil fill tube. I believe these came off of industrial engines, so they're a lot shorter, give a lot more clearance to things up high. You'll notice this carburetor looks a little bit different too. This particular one is a Holley 1904, sometimes called a glass bowl. So you can see that is the float right in there. The fuel bowl is glass. They make some other models that don't have the glass one. I thought it was kind of cool, so I went with the glass. But unfortunately, I think the glass is a little bit thicker than a normal fuel bowl, and that kind of contributes to my dipstick fill tube issue. So you can see this carb is very short. Just for reference, I have a Carter WO. This wouldn't be correct on this engine, but I couldn't find my YF in my part stash. So just to give you a visual on how much shorter this is, we'll hold this up here. So that's a good 3 inches or so. And every inch kind of counts when you're trying to stuff one of these things in a low hood Jeep. So those are the 2 big modifications that I had to do. Some other people have gotten away with a normal size fill tube, but I decided to put a short one on there, just for the heck of it. So I got my Holley 1904. Some other things I've done to this engine, I put a Pertronics ignition kit in. You can see no more points. I also have their flamethrower coil. I still have to get a new cap. This is the old one, just kind of keeping stuff out of, whoop, and there it goes. Keeping stuff out of my distributor. I'll pick that up and put it on later. The next big thing is the linkage. So go around to the other side of the engine. You'll notice I don't have the exhaust manifold on it yet. So this right here is the factory linkage for an F134. There's a little bell crank down here. Your pedal would attach here. So there's a piece of linkage material similar to this that goes back to the gas pedal in the tub. So it runs up. There's another bell crank up here and kind of goes over, and it would normally attach to, like I said, the Carter YF that comes stock on this engine. As you can see, there's maybe a little bit of disparity between this linkage, so it's going to need some modification. I stopped down and talked to Aaron Holloway today, and he gave me the idea. So this bracket right here would normally come off a Willys truck or wagon. So some people ask, what are these bolt holes for on the back of the block, particularly this one up here? On a normal L head, you'd use these 2 bolt holes for your linkage. So this linkage uses all 3, so I could retain the normal 3A or 2A pedal. And the linkage over here kind of butts up just forward of my coil, so I might be able to shoot it up and pick up that hole on the carburetor to get it working. So I still have a little bit more work to do with that, but I figured I'd at least just give you an overview of kind of this really short carburetor. There is also so this is a 1904. There's also a 1908 and a 1920. I don't know the exact differences between them all. They all look very similar and are very small in style. You'd have to do a bit more research to figure out which one would be best for your engine. I'm not sure, I got to give this one a try, maybe do a little tuning, play with the float a little bit, and some modifications so it doesn't stall out under steep inclines. But like I said, just thought I'd share what I'm doing, give maybe some others motivation to not have to cut a big hole in their hood to get a taller stock carb to fit.